This segment is brought to you by Jigmaster Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
Welcome to The Reel Down on Paddle and Fin with your hosts, Dan Perry and Jimmy Skinner, where we talk about everything tournament kayak fishing. Here we go. All right, everybody, welcome back to The Reel Down. We have a special guest tonight, but not only a special guest, we have a brand new host of The Reel Down, Sam Jones. He's going to be taking a different position with Paddle and Fin. He'll still be on show sometimes, but he's going to do some back end work for us, and he's kind of going to be the bounce around guy, do a lot of different shows and wear a lot of different hats. Kind of help Brian out. He's always so busy. But so we have a brand new full-time host, and that is Mr. Jimmy Skinner. Thank you.
What's up?
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah. So if you haven't heard before, he was on the review show, The Final Cast, with some guys talking about New Canoe, because he's one of those Team New Canoe guys. And so yeah, if they didn't hear before, Jimmy, tell us all about you. And you're going through storms tonight, so so there might be a little bit of lag, but we'll work through that.
No, man. Let's see. Been kayak fishing for a few years. Got hooked up with Hook One and New Canoe this year. It's the first year I've really been taking it a lot more serious, and hooked up with you at the Logan Martin event. We got to fish a little bit and hang out at the captain's meeting in the weigh-in. And I've listened to this show for probably going on a year now, and it was an awesome experience getting to be on one of the episodes and talk about the brands and everything. I thought that was pretty awesome. I'd looked into doing podcasts back before there were kayak fishing podcasts everywhere, and kind of let it go down. And I said something to you about if you ever needed anything to holler at me, and I didn't think you would ever actually have to give me a call. I was excited though. I just couldn't. This has been a fast year for me. Like, getting involved with Bass Nation and running all that for our state in Alabama, and getting my first staff deals with guys, and just the networking and working expos, and this has been an awesome year so far, and I'm looking forward to doing this and talk about tournament fishing, man. That's what I talk about all the time anyway, so might as well.
I know. That same way I felt. Is like I get to talk about fishing whenever I'm not fishing. Okay, I'll do that.
I mean, there's no down to this at all.
Yeah. So personally, tell us about yourself. What do you do? Family life?
I'm born and raised in Alabama. Yeah, man. I was born and raised in Alabama. Married with a beautiful 8-year-old daughter. We living up here in North Alabama. I moved up here. I've been up here probably 6 years now, and it's been awesome because that's kind of where the kayak fishing thing developed for me. I'm from down your way. I'm from Birmingham originally, and
I didn't know
there.
Right.
Oh yeah, I was from Hueytown. I'm sure you've heard of it.
That's right. Yeah, you did tell me that.
But grew up fishing with a bunch of buddies in school. And their dads on John boats. Then I got my own bass boat, and all that kind of fell apart kind of quick. And our river house got broke into, and a lot of my fishing gear got stolen. And I sold my bass boat, and I don't know, I just got busy with life, and that was kind of the end of fishing. And then, fast forward, got married, moved up here, and hadn't really heard of kayak fishing. And my brother-in-law took me out. We were in a couple of Ascend kayaks, and third cast, I caught like an 18-inch spot out on the Elk River, and I didn't know that was anything to really, that's a good fish in the tournament. You might want to hold on to that.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, hey, whatever. And I've been hooked ever since, dude. I've probably had 5 different boats now, and I'm about as deep into this as you can get. And I went through a lot of hobbies, man. Have had, the gun hobbies and RC cars and race cars and rock crawlers, and it all kind of comes and goes. And this doesn't. Like, I'm in this for the long run. I love this sport. I love all the people in it, man.
It's a whole life thing. It's, being able to take your family. It's fishing. It's being out in creation. It's a lot for me. It's a lot of different things all rolled into one, and I love them all.
Yeah, the one thing that was like really awesome that I got to do last year was when we had the open on Gunnersville for NACA for North Alabama kayak anglers. Me and my wife took a few days off and we took the camper down, and so we got to camp and hang out on the lake for a while and I did some free fishing, and then she got to meet all the kayak crazy guys down there, and we do the big boondoggle before cooking out and everything. And it's just so family friendly, and like you hear guys talk about with like the bass boat world, you do not get that. Like
No,
it's war to those guys, man. It's
that's right.
I see it too many times. Like if you struggled with pre-fishing or something like that, and you find out that like Dan's hammering them, be like, man, I just can't get on them, and you'll be like, oh hey, try this, go here. Guys are, it's just so much more like family, friendly. It's like camaraderie. I don't know. It's an awesome sport to be in. That's why I've kind of made it a goal. So it was last year. I had a goal that I wanted to, you know, the big goal was to take myself further in kayak fishing, and I just set like the
I
last.
I think you've done that, like with everything that you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Like the small goal I had on the very end of my list was, like get my first opportunity at like a pro staff thing, and it literally was December 31st at 7 o'clock after work. Craig Dye called me and offered me a spot on Hook One's team, and I was like, well, I did it. Took till the last day of the year, but all right. And then since that day, and it's been a lot because of those guys, Chris Conder, Chris Smith, and all the Hook One family and everything, that it's just, I don't want to say spiraled because that makes it sound like it's bad, but it's just like snowball effect for me. I'm getting phone calls that, like, I don't know. I've known so many people now that I never thought I'd ever get to talk to that I consider big names in the sport,
Yeah, oh
like
yeah.
who we're about to talk to, like Steve Owens. Before I ever even talked to him, everybody told me, if you ever fish a tournament, Steve Owens is the tournament director you want to fish under.
Yeah.
And I met him one night. I took him a Yakima topwater box he bought. I did it as a favor, ran it down there to him. We met on Gunnersville and we talked for like 2 hours. And before I thought that guy was like bigger than life. Like, he,
Yeah, oh yeah.
it was just
Half the people we talk to, I'm not only just talking to them, like I'm a fanboy. Like we have people on, I'm like, this guy's so good. Like I'm thinking in my head, like, like they are the rock stars of our sport. They're, like Russ Snyder's and Cody Milton and all these people we have the show. Like it's so much fun talking to all these people.
that's like when me and you were on Logan Martin, and I wasn't even paying enough attention because we were fighting the current so bad that Cody went past me and turned around and came up and talked to me. I talked to him for like 5 minutes,
So,
and then I came back up to you, and he was like, "Yeah, that was Cody," and I was like, "Wow, like, dude, he's a hammer." And then we saw Russ and all those guys, and then when you offered, me to do this, I was thinking in my head like, I'm gonna have to like keep the fanboy like dialed back,
no, it's
not
it's
take it
fun, man.
serious.
I think it keeps it fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know we're gonna have some fun with it.
Yeah.
It'll take me a couple runs to get kind of comfortable with it, but I'm a goofball, man. Nobody takes me seriously about anything, so which is crazy is the responsibility some of these people are giving me in the state for donuts and stuff. But we'll see.
So,
So
so you've been affiliated with NACA. If everybody doesn't know, that's North Alabama Kayak Anglers. They're like the longest running, biggest club in the state. So tell us about that first.
yeah, so like you said, longest running. They're like the OG of the state.
Mm.
Nate Mayfield, love the guy. I don't want to try to name all our board directors. We got a bunch of directors, and they're all like brothers.
We had Nate on the show one time.
Yeah. So Nate, his brother David, all of those guys, man, they're great. NACA's really got it together, and they've been, like you said, they've been around for a while, so they've got to really work out the kinks, and they're just about as grassroots as it gets, and it's great for bringing people in. And I fished with them. I think this is my fourth or fifth year. I think it's my fourth year, and I just kind of tested the waters. I did one of our trail stops, and we do a cookout like a little camp out before the open every year, and we were doing that, and I just saw like how open and friendly those guys were, and it just kind of takes that edge off when you're kind of doing something new.
Yeah.
And I've been doing stuff with them ever since, and then they I don't even remember. I think it was Jason Wack. He's a buddy of mine. They were looking for a throwdown director to do the smaller like Tuesday night, Saturday morning tournaments, just the stuff in between the trail stops and the monthlies and stuff like that. And I had held one because anybody in NACA can hold one. You just have to come through the director, get the paperwork that you need to have for the guys to sign the waiver. And they offered that to me, and I thought it would be a cool way to, that was like the first step of getting more involved in
Yeah.
the kayak fishing world. And it's been great. It's been terrible this year. I'm doing horrible, but with all the COVID stuff going on, I'm scared to hold one and something happen and be responsible kind of deal. I'm kind of just checking up and waiting. But it's coming. I've got some fun ideas planned. We're gonna do some crazy little throwdowns and Sunday throwdowns, and just whenever the world decides to go back to normal, it'll pick right back up.
Cool. And now you're the let me say this, it's a mouthful. Alabama Bass Nation Kayak Anglers Tournament Director.
That's right, ABNKS.
Oh, okay. See, there you go. I
But
didn't know there was an acronym. So tell us about that.
so yeah, so that's just that's what we're going to be talking about here in a little bit with the Steve and Freddie G. But so everybody knows that Bassmaster came out with the National Trail Series, the events that will qualify you. First off, huge payouts, big names and everything in the sport, but it's going to qualify you for spots in the Bassmaster Classic for kayaks. So we decided to do. I say we. Steve Owens is the driving force behind all this. So they reached out about doing state level stuff, and the way that would work would be kind of like a qualifying event where you can fish a tournament that is more than a grassroots local trail, but you don't have to get into these big national $250 entry fee tournaments, but you still get the same opportunity to fish the Bassmaster Classic. So, like what we're doing in our state this year is we're doing. What's that?
I didn't say anything.
Let's say something. But we're doing one championship event, just kind of like an open. I don't even want to call it a championship. It's just going to be one big event in August, on August 8th. Anybody can sign up for it as long as you pay your Bass Nation fees. $100 entry fee, and the top 10% of that will go to next year's Bassmaster Classic. And the only reason I'm doing it that way is because this all kind of came on so quick. I didn't have time to get sponsors in line, and we've already got a lot going on. I work full time and I'm running my own electrical business, so I've already got a lot going on that I couldn't schedule around. So one event this year, what we're about to talk about, we're going to have like a tri-state fellowship tournament on Chick that's just an open for everybody. But the one qualifying event in Alabama, and then next year I'll put us together a trail series, and we're gonna just keep our foot on the gas from there, man. I'm just gonna see what I can make of it.
That's right. And all right, I know you love your new canoes. Tell us about since this is your first show, tell us about the boats that you're in.
All right, so yeah, love my new canoes, man. I got the Flint. That's my skinny water boat. As much as I do the lake fishing, I actually said it to a guy the other day. I can't remember the last nice fish I've caught in a boat that wasn't my Flint. Like, I usually catch my good fish in my Flint because I'm on either slack waters, backwaters, or fishing, moving currents somewhere. So yeah, I got the 2020 Flint this year, and then I also picked up the Frontier 12 with the pivot drive.
The big dog.
Yeah, and I love that thing, man. My whole mindset on what that boat would be was completely wrong. I was completely surprised of how well it performs because their whole slogan, paddle pedal power, paddle first. It is so awesome to be able to kick the drive up and still paddle into those spots that I like to get into, or the grass is too thick to do anything, or the boat's relatively lighter weight than most of your competition pedal drives, so I can take it wherever I want to, throw it over whatever I want to get back into the whole. But yeah, love those guys. I wasn't expecting that, getting to be part of their team too. That just kind of came out of nowhere after one of the expos in Tennessee. Mike Schmitz, my regional director, reached out to me and was like, "Hey man, I need you on our team, man." And I was like I don't know about that, but sure, I'll give it a shot. And we had a couple little issues because I'm down here in Alabama, and we already had some guys, and they weren't looking for guys in that region. So he got with Blake Young that owned Canoe, and they kind of just got rid of all the boundary lines. So I represent Central Region in Tennessee, actually, even though I'm down here in Alabama. But it's a big family, man. I love those guys. They're all awesome.
So New Canoe and Hook One, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
So tell us about Hook One, people that don't know. And what? I'm sorry, you broke up.
No, you say most of this is all because of Hook One, actually. So Craig reached out to me, and that's working with them at the expo and doing things for them. Is how I met the guys with New Canoe. But no, Hook One, there's 2 stores, Murfreesboro and Hendersonville, Tennessee. They do the kayakfishinggear.com. Love those guys, man. It's primarily a kayak fishing store for anybody that doesn't know, but they carry all sorts of stuff. You get Yakima products, you get GoPro, Yeti, camp gear. They got footwear, anything you could think of. Trout really get a little bit of it. And then they carry tons of kayaks, kayaks.
Yeah.
Feel free to New Canoes. They can. Yeah, love those guys. It's been a cool experience, and I'm glad to see they just got to open back up Friday. Actually, because of this, everybody's worried about their your small local dealers and stuff like that during all this shutdown. What that does, they stayed busy through it. They got the go ahead to open Friday. So we're stoked about that. Hoping to get back up there and hang out with those guys soon.
Yep. If the tournament that we're going to be talking about after this on Chickamauga, if you're going through Murfreesboro or Hendersonville, stop by Hook One. I mean, check it out. It's definitely one of the, in my mind, like one of those 3, 4, or 5 best shops. Mariner Sales. There's a few Rocktown Adventures, Leveling Canoe and Kayak. Headwaters. It's one of those very few shops in the country that's just amazing. So it's like going to Bass Pro. Whenever you go through a town, you want to stop at the Bass Pro. Same thing for kayaks.
Yeah, and it's one of those companies that I've learned. I guarantee you, if you're kind of deep off in kayak fishing at all, you've heard of it. And they've done a lot for the sport. Continue to do a lot for the sport. They sponsor a lot of local clubs. They sponsor NACA. They sponsor a lot of the Tennessee clubs. I'm trying to work out some details of getting them involved with Bass Nation because they gave me my chance to be part of their team. I want to bring them in because if Bass Nation blows up like I know it's going to, I want them to be right there involved in it.
Yeah.
And same with New Canoe. Anybody that's helping me, I want to help them and take them with me on the ride.
That's right. All right. Well, man. We'll take a break here for just a second, and then we'll get back with everybody, and we'll talk to these fine guests we got. And so hold on just a few minutes.
All right, man. Looking forward to it.
All right.
All right. Welcome back. We talked about Jimmy there for a while, and now we have 2 other grown men here to talk about the Kayak Bass. It's a mouthful. Bass Nation Kayak Anglers Tournament Directors for. We've got Freddie Garza from Georgia, Steve Owens from Tennessee, and Jimmy the Man from Alabama. Thank y'all for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I'm glad I get to have you 2 on as my first two guests. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we'll ease you into it here.
Yeah.
But so while we're having you on, you're having a big tournament. The one that was on Chickamauga got canceled for the actual. I guess more affiliated with Bass, and now y'all decide you have your own fellowship tournament, right?
Yeah, the one that got rescheduled is actually the Bassmaster Trail Series. What we're doing is each of us are the I guess leader. It's not really president, but the leader of each Bass Nation State Series. which we will set up where you qualify for the Bassmaster Classic every year going forward. So consider this just like the Bass Boat Trail. They qualify through the Bass Nation, which is all the local events, to a state championship, and then from there they get some lucky angler will get to fish Bassmaster Classic like they dream to. We get to do the same format now, so this is not taking the place of that Bassmaster event, but that Bassmaster event is the actual trail series, one of the 3 or 4 that we have this year. So
it's the big deal.
So how did this? Whenever the other one did the other one just get postponed, or is it still going to be happening?
I'm sorry, I meant to elaborate on that. It got rescheduled because, and here's another thing for anyone that's watching. Go to the Bassmaster website. That's the source of information. Then if you need commentary, message us on Facebook and we'll go through that. It's different than how we're used to as a kayak organization of us local anglers and everything, but with Bass, that's how they communicate to the world, is on that website and through email. So always look there and then comment with one of us and we'll get you squared away. But the trail event series for the Bassmaster series was rescheduled to November the 21st. And reason being was every structure from the elite, the other Bass Nation state level stuff, college, high school, everything has been rescheduled across the board in every format of fishing.
Right.
So allow us to fish, we would, there's a lot of things that they have to do for that to happen, and they just can't do it with the stipulation and guidelines that are put on. Us on the state level, we can, because we're the ones that run it. It's not a business, it's a hobby, so to speak. So that's the difference there. So it's rescheduled for November the 21st in Lake Chickamauga. I know it's November, but for there, this event they won't be populated, obviously, because it's November. November fishing down here on Chickamauga is still spectacular. It actually my favorite fish because you're more alone. You don't have to get to the water at the crack of dawn. You don't have to rush for that early morning bite. You can deep crank, you can rig, you can throw a jig, you can still do jackhammers that time of year or chatterbaits, whatever you choose. You can frog fish that time of year if we still have mat. We didn't get good frog fishing here until October this year. So that's pretty for a lot of people. And for the northerners, they get to drive here now and fish where it probably could be 60 degrees.
A little warmer.
So, and another thing there, it'll be the last qualification for the Bassmaster in 2021 for the Bassmaster Classic. And, like we just said, you get to get out of that cold weather thing. So, and that should be the last of anything of the season because the KBFs will be done, the Hobies will be done. I know that's around the holiday time, but literally looking at everything, that's the only date that would work with the city of Dayton here on Chickamauga. There's just so much other stuff that goes on the lake. So thankfully, we won't be fishing such pressured fish, and you can get out there and get on one of those super schools and just start pulling up fives.
I'm with you. I like it because November's already shaping up to be a really busy, big month kayak fishing tournaments anyway. So I'm glad that we're in the mix with that too.
Yeah.
It gets that time of year is great. You get all the hunters off the water. It's like you said, a lot of times you'll have it to yourself, and you can still do any kind of fishing from deep to shallow. It's a good time. And I'll go through a few basics here. The date, it's going to be what's the exact date on it?
May 23rd.
There it is, May 23rd. I'm looking at your whole Tourney X deal here. I printed that out. The entry fee is $125 plus $10 big bass. Bounders, you got big bounders from, I'll let y'all look them up online, but Hiawassee River to I-75 Bridge, any public access, regular kind of stuff. Launch at 5:15, so super early. First cast at 6. So I love whenever tournaments don't tell me what time. Like, I have plenty of time to get to my spot. I really, that's something I wish every tournament had, rather than, some of them. I hate that rule. But the line's out at 4 o'clock. Fish have to be in by 4:30. Awards at 6:30. Is there? It says location to be determined. Fly fish limit 12-inch minimum, obviously, and the regular B.A.S.S rules for kayak fishing. If you fish Logan Martin or anything like that, then you're the regular standard rules, nothing crazy. So are you going to? I know we had the whole coronavirus thing going on, and so are you going to actually have a weigh-in that your people are going to be able to go to?
We're going to, the week of the event, because the CDC rules change literally every 2 or 3 days at time. We're going to get the CDC rules and get with the mayor and everything, and then us three will talk. And I mean, if we have to go virtual, that's fine. As we said, we're doing this to promote our grassroots initiative of Bass Nation, which will be supported by all of our grassroots. All of us. He's got NACA, and he's got the big club in Georgia. They're rolling through. The Classic City.
Classic City kayaking. It's great.
Yeah, and so everybody's on board with it. It's all new, and it's taken a long time to get it developed, just because there's so much to it. Because we've already have these really Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, West Virginia, Texas. We're all in Arkansas. These states are all well established already. So we're trying to figure out how to do this, because there is, for this event, you don't have to join Bass Nation, but going forward in a Bass Nation series, you have to join that as well. So there's a lot to figure out there, because it's brand new, and we're trying to make it to where you're not not trying to force anything on anyone. So trying to go around that so that we don't hurt grassroots and pull from, but lift up at the same time. And then from your grassroots, we'll have these events. We haven't. All of us will be different. Some of us may be $100 entry fee, some may be 50, some 75. We don't know. That's up to each state. You literally do whatever your body wants to do. So that's why we're doing this mainly, is everybody's wanting to get out and do something. We miss our tournaments, and it helps us establish what we're doing here, because, we got to do something to get it growing so that we can start going ahead and making the mistakes and getting them right, as we go forward. So we'll get it all figured out. We've had a lot of help from a lot of people that probably won't ever even get mentioned, but they've helped all across the country. And so we just really want to get this up and moving. And we thought, you know what, we've got this date everybody's been excited for already. Some people have put in their vacation time. So if they can get out and come, that's awesome. And if we have to do it 100% virtual, we're still out fishing. There's still something on Facebook for people to follow and watch on Tourney X. And I just think it'll kind of, hopefully we're on the end of it. And then from here, we'll just jettison to the next big event, whether it's a Hobie, KBF, or the next bass after this won't be until August. So I hope we got something in between then. So
yeah, heck yeah.
But
All
We're
right, so
excited to do it.
don't promote what these two have got going on in their states coming forward.
how did y'all two let Steve bamboozle you into having this on his home lake of Chickamauga?
I'll be honest,
I mean,
we didn't have
hey.
a choice.
Lanier, Guntersville,
Exactly.
there's a lot of good lakes you could have had it on.
I got a message and he was like, "Hey, we're setting this up. It's right here." And I was like, "All right, let's go."
Exactly.
Well, I get Jimmy. It's got a lot of moving water, and that's okay with him. Freddie, what kind of water do you usually fish over there? It's usually like spots, deep, clear water, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what makes it pretty unique. Steve kind of brushed on, things with bass. The interesting thing here in Georgia, here in the last couple of years, I mean, we've had an explosion of clubs. Right now, I think we're right at about 6 or 7 really, really active clubs, which has made it, really difficult to kind of bring everyone together. So, at any given time or any given weekend on any month throughout the season, you're looking at least a tournament a weekend, because every club here in Georgia is spread out throughout the month. So Bass Nation is going to really provide us with an opportunity to kind of give, another level of competition, and hopefully be able to get those guys who really want to compete at the next level an opportunity within Georgia that kind of keeps it, within a pack, in that pack being Bass Nation, to be able to kind of gauge themselves against what we're hoping is the best of the best for Georgia. And I think that's what Bass is really looking at throughout every state, is to really, up the game and provide an opportunity in a trail, send them to the national championship, wherever that is throughout the year. So I think once we get past all of the initial confusion and, the answers and some answers to a lot of questions that we have, I think it'll kind of streamline a lot of things, and people will see, what it is that they're getting and the value that they're getting out of the dues. Because initially, that's what we've had struggles with here in Georgia, is really trying to explain, the process of the dues and where they're going, what they're, what those dues provide to the angler. Once we get past that barrier, I think they'll start to understand that it is a better opportunity, or I shouldn't say better, but a good opportunity for them to fish at the next level with opportunity.
And it should definitely help. It's like bridging the gap between like a grassroots local tournament and one of the big time $250 plus entry fee tournaments. And a lot of people are ready for it. And it being with Bassmaster, that's a name everybody knows.
Right.
I don't know. Even for me, it seems like it's be less intimidating coming in. Like, do I want to go fish what's a Hobie? Or like if you're new into it and you're just trying to jump into it, you're like, what's that? Oh, well, I know what Bassmaster is. So it's just gonna help a lot of people kind of get in.
So with all the states being different, and you're kind of able to do your own thing, how are you making those decisions? Like Steve said earlier, each state can have their own decide their own tournament fees for their tournaments. How are y'all deciding that? Just feedback from the anglers, or just between yourselves, or how does that work?
I just kind of was winging it.
So what are they for your three states?
I got with there's Ashley Cheney, KBFTN, John McCleany with Southern Middle Tennessee Kayak Anglers, my partner Ryan Lambert in this, Daniel Davis, and another director that we don't, he just wants to remain anonymous, from another state is where, and then obviously these two, where we've gotten all the information from on how to set these up. But a lot of it has been, we see what happens on Facebook and everything, and so we listen to it. Some anglers can't afford this, they can't afford that. So you want to try to, with KBF not doing as much going forward, there's a ginormous gap for us to fill now. In Tennessee, we're doing $100. I think most all of them will be 100% payback, because I can get funding for administration fees, which is attorney X, director fee, so that the director gets paid for running an event. And after that, there should be money left over to go to a pot. Now, that's my job as a director, to make sure I can get those things to make these successful. So, so I think we can get all of that covered, and from there, it'd be $100 bill, 100% payout, hopefully. And that came from a little small panel I created for this, for people that I trust that have been doing it for a long time. And the rest is just, we kind of put little pieces of cheese out here and there on certain pages, and just listen to people and see what they say. And just, Ryan and Ashley and McLean, they all got a really good instinct for what not to do. For me, I'm just, the blinders and just go. And they're more cautious than I am. I don't pick up on subtlety, and I just, I don't put a lot of safeguards in place for myself. So.
And it's to me, $100 seems like a good mid-range between that, your local club stuff, 40, whatever your local club is, and the big stuff, 200, 250. It's,
If you have 3 or 4 a year, it's something a person can plan for,
Yeah.
Right.
And it's reasonable, keeps a lot of people in.
Yeah. If you see the numbers we've gotten at each of our lakes when we did the KBF stuff, for this to attach that name to it, as well as make it the qualifier for a Bassmaster Classic every dude, if you get 100 anglers in there with $100 bill entry fee, and you can raise a couple thousand from a city, that money is there. You just have to, and get with us. If you don't know how to talk to them, we'll tell you the money is there. They're ready for it. They see what we're doing now. If you can get $3-4 extra $1,000 to cover PayPal and to pay your director some stuff for his hard work, then you can realistically have about a $7,000 first place check for fishing your home lakes, man. And I think that's there. And it kind of, we had to jump in as quick as we could. We didn't have time to plan it out and say, this is what we're going to do and what we're going to do. I really still haven't even announced that what we're doing for our Tennessee State Championship this year. And I know Freddie and them have just finally got theirs tweaked and fine-tuned. So it's just, we have to do it while we're in the middle of it because it's so new that, there's just not a lot of information there. And B.A.S.S has told us, we want you guys to step in. You join on the state level. Everyone joins B.A.S.S Master, okay? The big umbrella organization.
Yeah. Get the magazine, all that.
Baits, and then on the state level, it's $30. All right. From there, you get the other magazine, B.A.S.S Times, which in my opinion is the better one. It's shaped big like the Inquirer.
Yeah. you flip it open. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then from there, that money also helps conservation efforts. It helps lawyers when we try to keep boat ramps open or open new boat ramps. That kind of lobby money is important. So that money goes further there. And it's not like it gets taken and it's all in one pot. The college money, high school money, elite money, it's all in one pot and gets dispersed. So that's important to let everyone know. In Tennessee, what we're doing this year, since it's brand new and it's kind of short notice, each of our clubs is going to raise the $30 entry fee to Bass Nation for our anglers because we're using our existing CAST, Kayak Angler Society of Tennessee State Championship. The thing with a Bass Nation event, for it to count as a Bass Nation event, which is also your insurance, you get that as part of your event. It covers your officers. Should someone get hurt, the angler that got hurt or did the hurting, all of that's covered, unless it's a felony, obviously. So all of that's covered with this. It's part of your $30. And we all did the whitewater research on the insurance separately. And it's pretty inexpensive, but it's still an overhead cost. So this here, we get it for those events. And so to fish a Bass Nation event, you have to have 100% membership with your anglers there. So in our Tennessee State Championship, when you qualify, we'll have your membership waiting for you once you've submitted your name that you're going to fish it. So we'll have 110 opportunities, and the top 10% this year goes to the Bassmaster Classic next year. So we could potentially have 11 anglers. I know you guys have 60 to 100 in y'all state championship every year. So there's 6 to 10 guys or girls are just going to get to live a dream, if you strike out on one of the big events or you can't afford it or you can't travel to it. So this is an opportunity to back that up.
Did you happen to want to release where that's going to be? I mean, if you want to do that on this show, you can.
Literally, John Stewart is my mom. He's sit in on those meetings. So who knows now, man? We may have to have it in salt water to get away from the coast. Who knows?
That's right. So so Freddie, you were saying earlier that you're doing something with high school anglers, right?
Correct.
Yeah, tell us about that, man.
Yeah, we just launched that's the Georgia High School Kayak Fishing Association. We launched this year is our first trail season, and we actually partnered with the Student Angler Federation for that, kind of unlocked Georgia High School adopting FLW, and next year they're going to recognize it as a letterable sport. So that all fell in line pretty, in our favor, luckily. Yeah. But we've partnered with Student Angler Federation. They've been very excited to kind of have us as a more or less a pilot program, because we're one of the only programs right now that we're aware of that's kind of went ahead and launched their season. So what we're able to do actually next month will be kind of the end of our season for FLW, because the national championship and the world finals are going to be held in La Crosse, Wisconsin in June, on June 23rd through 26th, I believe. And I just confirmed that there's no change to that date. So the high school event still will happen unless something, tragic happens between now and then and things have to change. I just got confirmation this morning from national president that they're going to go ahead and launch that. So what we're doing and what we're able to do here in Georgia is that each single angler that we've had on the high school level has declared a partner. So at the first of the year, they declared their partner. Because on the bass boat side, obviously they're angler, co-angler.
Yeah.
And we've set them up very similarly, but we've allowed them to fish separately. So what we've done is combine the two individual totals to combine for their team total. So at the end of this month or end of May, we're going to declare our first team champions for the state of Georgia and flip them out of a kayak into a bass boat to go fish the high school world championship and national championship.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, just more opportunity to put kids on the water. It's always a good thing.
It really is. And we haven't even scratched the surface here. We've had a great turnout. Everyone that we've spoken to has been very receptive of what we're doing. We're just working, really hard from now to the start of our next season, which will actually start in early fall of next year. So next year, our season is going to start in the fall. It'll go the school year, calendar year. And at the end of next year, we'll do the same and flip them into a boat for the high school national championship as well. But we're hoping to spread the word here in Georgia. We haven't even scratched the surface. We're based out of Athens, so we've caught a lot of our local counties. And again, we've been very welcomed. Mainly, a lot of the things that we've noticed in the high school bass fishing side of things, it's just the inability for some of these kids who really want to fish but can't either find a captain, or a boat, and they're having difficulties doing that. But when we step in and show them the opportunities that we have on the kayak side, between the student angler and the parents, they're just, they're ecstatic, and they're so excited to get on board, learn our process and how we do things. And it's been wonderful. So next year we hope to grow and continue to grow and give these kids the opportunity that we hope they will enjoy.
So do they not have to have a parent with them whenever they're on their water, or because they're teamed up, they kind of?
We've kind of the COVID situation really kind of morphed us. Originally, we had set up safety precautions where we had teams of spotters. We're actually fortunate to team up with a veterans kayak fishing here out of Georgia, where they brought all their pro staff and they acted as our spotters. We would radio in every hour on the hour locations of these student anglers to ensure that they had eyes on them at all times. But when COVID hit, we still continued to kind of do things virtually. So what we required at that point was the parent to more or less be their team captain and be out there being that spotter for us since we weren't there. So, but looking at next year, we'll probably do a combination of the two, because we've noticed that it's, again, it's kind of a learning experience for them too. And we want them to be successful and kind of learn on the water. And then the boats, they have, the captain or the driver that's able to kind of guide them and teach them as they're on the water. And COVID has kind of taught us that we've got a good system in place now with allowing the parents or, the team captain to be one of two things. They can either be, they're going to be the spotter and they're going to be the coach. So they're able to kind of help them maneuver and, get on to fish where, they might not otherwise be able to by themselves. So
very cool.
Yeah, I like that.
So I want to take a left turn here for a second. Steve.
Yeah.
What happened to your truck, man? Somebody set your truck on fire? I saw this online. What's going on? What do you do to somebody? Somebody not like you?
I don't know. It was either I got somebody's spot. It was either the Jesus sticker or a Hobie sticker. I don't know.
Or both. They hate Jesus and the Hobie.
People in Hobies, but hey, all right.
Man, I was going to try to come catch a trip with you, but now I'm scared to.
He's marked.
I like my
Yeah, me and my buddy Cooth went up north, over in Meigs County, and it's a good little spot. I fish it, when the water's real low, the water was way up. So I was like, man, let's go check it out. And had gotten in there before, and there's a lot of crappie moving in, a lot of good sized bluegill, and we fish for about everything, and so we were back in there checking to see if it's going to be a good spawning flat or whatever. And hadn't been there. We launched about 8:30ish, and probably about 9:45ish, my phone was buzzing, so I was ignoring it. I was just trying to fish a little bit, and I checked it, and I got a call from Sportsman's Warehouse, so I called them back, and what had happened was she said, "Hey, everything's okay, don't panic, but your truck's on fire at the ramp. They've got it under control."
Don't panic, your truck's on fire.
Don't panic, exactly.
They don't know me. Don't get excited. Well, that's out the window. So anyway, she said, call this number. I said, man, listen, I'm not going to remember that. So text it to me if you don't care. And one of the firefighters is in our TVKA club, and he had saw the sticker, and by the time then a cop had came and ran my tag number. So he got my phone number from Sports Warehouse and called, and so we got back to the ramp, and there were Kuth's truck was broken into, mine, another truck. It ended up being 5 trucks total, and one of them being a deputy sheriff, and his was the one that got burnt absolutely to the ground. The only thing I can think of, because I was the only one that got burned, was I had accidentally left my pistol in my console. So we assume it was someone local that probably knew he was a cop, and then from there I had a pistol. Hey, let's just burn his too, So
Yeah.
yeah, so they had it out, and then it was a total loss. I had quite a bit in there because I'm pretty organized, so I keep a lot of stuff in duffel bags and just slid under the seat. So I had a lot in there. Just bought a brand new power pole anchor system, Mustang rain suit, hook rain suit, bench made knife, coaster glasses, SIG pistol. It all added up quickly. 3 days later, Allstate had my money for my truck and my contents in my bank account. 3 days later.
Wow.
That's selfish right there.
He's
Well,
currently organizing what we need as kayak anglers, because he got educated through this as well, because like, well, you were in a boat. And I was like, no, I was in a kayak way away. Well, your trailer is this. I said, no, none of that. And then he said, well, your contents, those are your boat items. I said, no, they're not. My fish finder is the only boat item. My anchor system is the only boat item. Most all insurances only cover boat items if you don't have a boat policy for $1,000. I said, all this other stuff are things that I carry with me if I'm fishing on a friend's boat, a backyard pond, or whatever. These are not boat items. So they got that straight, and I had zero issues with it. But he's gotten with a few other anglers since then and gotten some intel from them. So he's going to set up what he thinks we all need, and I'm going to try to publish that so that we make sure we get the right kind of coverage when we're traveling, not only in our local area, but as we go to these Bassmaster and Hobie and Cape events. So there's a lot of horror stories. So
Steve's got his hands in everything, man. If kayak fishing needs it, Steve can get a hold of it, dude.
This episode brought to you by Allstate. I mean, no, man, that's awesome. I mean, for an insurance company to do that, and yeah, that's awesome.
Right. Look at that. That's Southeast Tackle here in Chattanooga. Brian Batka, he's one of our anglers. He took this reel, it sounded like gravel, and put some bocas in it. And look what he did. He even greased and oiled those, the grip. Brian is phenomenal. He's really cheap, too, on cleaning and servicing your reels. I can't put this thing down. So
shameless plug.
That's it. Yeah.
All right, so we got the tournament. We know all about that. Freddie, is there anything else?
Before we move, Freddie, as far as your kayak state level Bass Nation stuff, have you got any of that worked out? Like, what are you going with? Entry fee, win, championship tournament? What are you doing?
So this year we're just going to host the state championship, and what we're requiring this year in Georgia is just that you are a Georgia Bass Nation member, and we're trying to get everybody. Georgia Bass Nation needs to close up their books by the end of, or basically midsummer for bass. So what we're trying to do is get everyone joined up. We'll make exceptions this year, but we're trying to do our best to be respectful to the Bass Nation and get our dues in by June 1st. So all of the directors here in Georgia that are going to be affiliated, the clubs that are going to be affiliated with Georgia Bass Nation, are aware of this. So they've already established their rosters. They're currently trying to, collect those dues, and that's something we'll push throughout the month just to see and go ahead and get as many signed up by June 1st as possible. But this year, that's the only requirement. Again, we'll make, exceptions to allow people to fish our state championship, which is going to be held on Lake Sinclair, October 20, I believe it's the 23rd. So I hope I'm saying that. It's posted on Georgia Bass Nation, but I believe it's October 20. What's that?
What's that date again?
October 23rd.
Okay. All
or
right.
24th.
Yeah. Like you said, you guys are hosting a standalone event. You don't have to go through a trail series to get to it. You can show up, pay your money if you live in Pennsylvania or wherever.
Right.
Is that correct?
Didn't think about that.
That is correct. Yes. So it'd be $100 entry fee for anyone, as long as you are a Bass Nation.
Yeah.
member.
What was explained to me was you pay one Bass Nation membership one time, $30, and then as long as I satisfy Alabama's state dues if there is one, Georgia's state dues if there is one, that's it. You can fish all across the country under one Bass Nation entry dues.
Right.
You won't be added to the roster because we've got a guy that fishes our monthly TGKA tournaments, and he's been hammering us from down there in Georgia, and he lives around that area. So I'm gonna get a friend, and I may try to qualify for y'all state championship.
So yeah, that this year, because you can just show up and pay the dues rather than having to qualify. There might be a lot of people going from state to state trying to get that classic spot.
Right.
Yeah. As quick as we that the shop I work out of down there in Georgia, they actually had multiple people come through who didn't own kayaks and say, "We can fish in the state championship and get to the Bassmaster Classic y'all hold." And he said, "Absolutely." And there was 3 or 4 kayaks sold that way.
Wow.
Yep. Right out the gate, people, they're ready. The man I work under for Shimano just sold his ginormous Ranger boat and got in a kayak. He's ready too. So there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get publicized that these sponsors, don't even call them sponsors, these other business entities are excited about. I know all plugs here and there in the industry, buddy, they are excited. Yeah.
I mean, I know I made the transition from a Ranger to a kayak, so I mean it's a real. I'm able to do the same thing in a kayak that I could in a bass boat, except it's cheaper, the community is better, and it's just funner, and you get a little bit more exercise.
The
I mean,
community is way better.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I would go at tournaments at big tournaments at bass boat and not talk to anybody. I mean, zero.
They're the enemy. That's the way it's terrible.
Yeah.
I think Alabama's, we're, I'm not doing it on the normal state championship. We had a lot of, Alabama clubs are so grassroots that you can tell they were kind of, I don't want to say fearful, but they were just like not wanting to get their toes wet with this, which seeing now that how Alabama's finally going with Tourney X, I could probably change it, but I've already put in so much work to do a standalone event the other way that this is just how we're going to do it this year. So August 8th, we're going to do one on Gunnersville, $100 entry fee, get as many folks as we can down here. Hopefully the Tennessee guys will stay up there.
I'll be there.
We got 80% of that lake. Leave it alone, But I know I had a lot of guys that'll probably, watching this right now, wanting to hear some of this information. I've been kind of holding back some of the details until the other states stuff was kind of coming out. And then Steve, Freddie, and I were talking about all this. So, but I think it's going to be a big thing. I've had a lot of people reach out to me, like you were talking about, basketball guys that between Hook One Outfitters and some of the local shops down here. I hear a lot of people coming out of the bass boat into the kayaks after they see us out there and see how serious some of these guys take it. I mean, some of us, there's nothing wrong with having a cheaper setup and not doing a lot. But, these bass boat guys that run, $5,000-$10,000, but when they see, I know when they see all the stuff I carry on my IFL, all my electronics stuff, oh, okay, I can do that too and save some money. And then, like, I had a high school coach when I worked on the Expos in Tennessee. One of the high school coaches came up and some of the guys on the team that good. Rough way to put it. He was like, giving him a chance to retire gives him that second chance.
Oh, hold up just a second there. Jay, you're kind of lagging. I know you're in storms tonight, so
Yeah.
us here in the South, there's some storms, so it's not the best time to be recording tonight. But Alabama, I think we're just a little slow to accept it. Maybe there's some stuff in the past that kind of snake bit some people. So I think y'all have made a really good decision, like you said, like not forcing it on people. Everybody knows it's Bassmaster, it's a best, and once you're around for a year and people see more information coming out, I think it's people are going to take to it more and more. But with bass boats, I think everybody says we want to grow the sport, grow the sport. Lord help us if all these guys come from a bass boat. Nobody's going to be able to win a tournament anymore because there's some hammers down here that I don't want to see them in a kayak. So,
Yeah.
it's one of those things.
I think what Jimmy did, we had a discussion a long time ago, and something I learned from AJ and even Freddie, talking with him, just getting to know him for probably about 2 months. We talked off and on about what to do, because there's so many ways to do it wrong and very few ways to do it right. In the end, it was kind of like, you know what? Let's not try to get everybody to conform to this. Let's just build something and lay it on the table, and whoever wants to come up to it, let's not be offended if we get 25 people. Let's just put what we think is a good product out there because people trust us. And that's what with Jimmy, he was like, what do we get going here, man? I just can't, we were just like, hey, just put something out there, and people know you, they trust you and respect you. They'll start coming and sniffing it, and the next thing you know, they're in. And now, I talked to a few other people over private messenger asking about my truck and everything. They're excited about what y'all got going on down in Alabama. So I think y'all did the right thing by doing it that way.
Yeah. It's just letting people, like you said, letting people come to it. It'll happen. It's Bassmaster and the classic. Everybody wants to sign up. just give them some time.
15 jerk and everything we read.
Yeah, and I think too, guys, it's finding that balance between the grassroots and what we're going to be producing with bass. It's an opportunity for everyone, and I think that's kind of the foundation of our community. And one thing I learned coming out of the Bassmaster Classic this year was that we talk about growth, we talk about how exponential our growth has been. We haven't even scratched the surface. To hear some of these bass boat guys just not have a clue. And I hate to say it that way, but it's true. They just don't know the capacity of where kayak fishing is currently. I had questions. Well, you guys have a fish finder? Yeah, we guys got fish finders, trolling motors, and that the excitement is there. The curiosity is there. So to me, to kind of talk to people there at the Classic and realize, wow, there's so many people we haven't even come close to reaching. We're going to get there eventually, I think, as we start to organize, especially with bass. I think bass is as I've told Steve many times, it's a great platform. I think it's just, something that we have to build as a culture within our community now, and just provide that for those who are wanting that next level. If it's something that our guys aren't interested in, then we still have the grassroots level that is just as good guy, but let's continue to grow. Look forward to it.
I was telling, I'm in a group text with a couple of buddies, and they have a bass boat. I was like, oh, I'm fishing an online tournament. They're like, oh, like a game? Is there a game out there you can play where you kayak fish? I'm like, nah, man, it's virtual. Yeah. So, like you said, Freddie, man, people don't get it, but whenever they do, it's like, oh, I get it. This is fun, and this is better.
I'll tell you, like, they don't get it now. I can't wait to see next year, after one full year of the Bass Nation kind of growing and rolling around. I think it's gonna just blow up. I think it's gonna go crazy.
Yeah, I'll touch on this. What we're doing as far as the culture is catching on in bass boat community. Fish Dayton here on Lake Chickamauga, they're wanting me to set up bass boat tournaments, like a weekly online event where they measure, catch photo. Right now, just to get it off the ground, I don't know if we'll make a catch photo release, just because I want more people to do it, build it, and then shrink it next year. You know what I mean?
Right.
Here, you stop and think, we've got so many weekend tournaments. If you're fishing the CBA, Chattanooga Bass Association, where, Buddy Gross, Michael Neal, Andy Morgan, they all grew up, come through and made it to the pros. Then you've got, the Big Bass Splash coming, the Heartland Classic, Costa Series, the Bass Pro Shop Southern Open. If you're here in town pre-fishing all week, and I'm trying to funnel people to our dog fights during the week as well. Because if you're one of the handlers here fishing for, your Bassmaster Classic spot through the CBA group, you're not going to pick your fish up on a Tuesday and take them to a ramp 8 miles down the river and let them go at a weigh-in for a couple $100. But if you can do that in a dog fight, catch, photo, release, where you call them pre-fishing for your big weekend tournament, and potentially win $4,000 for a week of fishing, because you get to count your fish for that weekend. Well, you can't, because they'll be kept. But the ones where you can release, you just get that much more. And they're wanting to put some big time sponsoring money to it. So, and they're doing that because of us. They see that we don't leave a footprint. So the best thing they can do for a fishery, it'll help. It'll just help grow it, because you can't tell me that not only hammering the fish makes them not want to bite a little bit later, but when you haul them all around and then drop them
yeah.
Right.
it has to, over the course of 5 or 10 years, hurt a fishery. You have to be wonderful a little bit, Y'all had a 2 or 3 year downturn there, and then now it's exploded again. So I think that they're seeing, they want to support us with this. So that's pretty interesting. So, and I do know there's some clubs around Georgia, some weeknight dog fights that are wanting to do catch photo release. So it's growing. So,
I really think in the next couple of years, the states are going to say it all has to be CPR weigh-ins rather than actually doing it in person. I just, like you said, how can it not hurt a fishery? I think, coming from a bass boat world, you don't want to say that. You don't want to say that you're actually hurting the thing that you love the most. But I mean, if you're putting them in a boat, bouncing them all around all day, going 70, and putting them all back in one place in the lake, there's no way you're not hurting them.
yeah, I mean, those fish not just breathing and stuff, but they're scared to death. I mean,
Yeah.
they're still, animate creatures. They
Correct.
know, hey, not where I'm supposed to be, So that's got to put, physical stress on them. And I'm sure they have heart attacks,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Riser a couple of weeks ago here on Chick, and I scared up a fat pre-spawn about 6 or 7 pound, and she didn't see me because we're stealthy in a kayak, and she swam next to me, and I swear to God, I saw her look up, and she started flopping on her side and shaking because she couldn't dive. And, I swear she bites. So I mean, you get beat in a boat like that all day long, you may have one too. So
Yeah.
So, and hope to God it happens, because there's just so many people out there now. That, and a limit fish is a 2-pounder. So if you've got 5 limit fish of 2-pounders, we're not talking about killing the 10-pounders. You're killing the saplings, so to speak.
The yearlings. Yeah. All right, Jimmy. Jimmy, you got anything for these fine fellows before we let them go? We don't want to keep y'all too long. Be respectful of your time here.
We'll play with my reel.
What?
Put some line on that thing, man.
So, you got any? I know we're not even got all of our stuff dialed in for this year. You got anything that's already ready for next year on the state level? You've thought about full trail series or anything?
Yeah, we've talked about it. One of the things that that I've been fortunate with is everyone that's going to affiliate with Bass Nation this year, they've kind of given me some really good input and some good advice on what they'd like to see. It's been really a group effort. John Hummel, there's Daniel Smith with Georgia Kayak Fishing League, Kevin Fox, and Wesley Harrell there at East Central. So everyone that's coming into Bass has been really, really great about giving me their input and what they like to see, just to kind of give it the best opportunity to be successful. So what we've kind of come up with for next year is we're looking at a 3 to 4 stop trail system next year for qualification purposes into the state championship.
Right.
Now, however many, basically the way we're shaping up now is with the amount of affiliated bass clubs, we hope there'll be more by next year. But for sure, at least the starting 4 that have already, organized will probably each host 1 stop throughout the trail season next year. So 3 max, probably max 4. We didn't want to get too much into, having too many events for bass. We feel like there's other opportunities. We want to allow our anglers to travel and hit the national series, not have to compete against our state level, as well as, compete within, the grassroots. Because that's the biggest challenge for Georgia, is that we have so many opportunities for the anglers. But the one thing that I can say that's been very nice about Georgia, I formed Classic City last year, but just the open arms and the welcoming that I've gotten from every other club throughout Georgia has been, it's been awesome. So, but yeah, that's kind of our look ahead for next year: 3 to 4 stop trail, and then the state championship at the end of the year.
Awesome. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, in Tennessee, quickly, what we'll probably do is, like he said, we'll do 3 events and a state championship separate from our grassroots. But to kind of help our grassroots, help us grow too, what I'll probably end up doing is, out of each 3 event, do the top 10 qualify for the state championship. And then to help grassroots clubs do something like the Lucky 7, their top 7 anglers for their Angler of the Year qualify as well. So that'll get us around. We've got 11 clubs in Tennessee, so that would get us over 100, which seems to be the magic number to get $2,000 to $5,000 from a city. Make it a 2-day event so that people have to stay in hotels or VRBOs so that they can get a return on investment number. And I've learned that through Fish Dating. They've been phenomenal, telling me everything I need for reaching out to other cities to leave here and have events. They're good people. So kind of keep it simple, just like you guys said, 3 events, because you still have Hobie and Bassmaster events, grassroots events, birthdays, weddings, family time. We all to that. So that's it, there, and I think that'll work good for us.
How about here in Alabama, Jimmy? Spill it.
All right, so I can give you a little more information because I've kind of been working on it. I've kind of been doing a lot of it myself. So in Alabama, I've been getting a little bit of input for the most part from all the tournament directors. They were just kind of like, can't really tell you anything, but whatever you do. So we're going to do 3 events next year, kind of north, central, south. I'm hoping that it works out. I'm in Pinewood, Smith Lake, and then the championship.
Oh, yeah. Hold on just a second. You're lagging there. You'll have to say those again. I missed them.
Oh, okay.
I heard Smith Lake, right?
So Pickwick.
All right, I like it.
And then Lake Eufaula.
Ooh,
all right.
And then championship out of the hat out of that.
All right.
And then similar to what Steve was saying, I'm going to try to work it out with the clubs where the top 10 qualifiers qualify for state, stuff like that, to kind of boost up their numbers, and then try to offer the winners of that spots, and then they pay into the Bass Nation through that, etc. So
y'all might have to keep this going, a whole tri-state thing every year.
I like it.
Hey, absolutely.
Talked about was trying to, to link up and try to do one in each state, which might be too much, but we can at least obviously we just did one here. So next year you 2 flip a coin and we'll do something.
He'll convince you to do it at Chickamauga again.
Oh, man, no, I want to hit Lake Lanier.
There you go. What?
See, I like spots. I'd be okay with Lanier too.
I actually fish better off of this lake in something big. I don't know why. I think because I hunting for fish versus going up here where I think I've got some, in the
Checking your spots.
Yeah, man, I hate that. Jamie Dennison said, "Don't fish history." Whatever.
Right.
Can't help it.
I'm so guilty of that. I cannot help it though.
Yeah.
So here's a question: Are y'all going to fish this event, or are you just going to sit back and direct it?
I get to fish it. I'm gonna fish it. So. Yeah.
Second question: Can I go with you? I haven't been to Chick.
And
Yeah. Are you fishing it, Freddie?
I am not. I'll be going out to support and talk bass. But yeah, won't be fishing this one.
I don't know. I ain't never seen Freddie on the water. He looks like a hammer there. I ain't messing with him. Looks like he can slaughter some fish. Jimmy's good too, though. If you can get him back in a river, some moving water, he'll be all right.
I'm working on the big water stuff. It's starting to I'm starting to figure it out, but I like that slack water and moving water. Get off the beaten path, man.
All right.
All right, fellas. We appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for being on the show, and good luck. Be safe, and just enjoy time with your families while you can. Thank y'all.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks.
Go check out the website, guys. paddle_n-fin.com. Also check out YouTube, youtube.com/paddleandfin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest, feel free to email us at paddle_n-fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We're doing giveaways, announcements, things like that at Facebook and Instagram at Paddle and Fin. Shout out to our show supporters, Rocktown Adventures, Loveland Canoe and Kayak, Hammered Lures, Fish Mob Lures, TRC Covers, Catch Products. Go to catchproducts.com. You can put the Paddle and Fin logo right on your catch board. Don't forget to go over and pick up your Jig Masters jigs. Use promo code PNF20 and save 20% today. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to. It helps grow the audience, helps others find our podcast. So please drop a 5-star rating in on the podcast platform you're listening on. Don't forget about the recycled plastics program, you guys. Take your used plastic baits, put them in an envelope, mail them to the address in the show notes. Our man Eric Richards at Hammered Lures melts those down, makes new baits, and donates them to various chapters of Heroes on the Water.